me record it. Then you start reading. Just get started.
Sifa Saga synopsis. It happened that when I was the chairman of a 12-story building with close to 300 units independently owned by individuals and organizations, when trouble came calling. The building is called Sifa Apartments. I own a unit there. It was not in my intention to be the chairman. However, when the former chairman stepped down, claiming that he was overwhelmed by personal commitments, I thought it was wise to step in just for a year in order to ensure some projects were started, executed, and completed. These projects included installing a water treatment plant, since our city always experiences water problems. Yet the borehole water we had was unfit for human consumption. Repainting the building because the developer did not do a great job, and then installing CCTV for security. This building is still one of the best low-cost residential apartments in Nairobi. When the government started the issue of demolition of buildings built on riparian reserves, our building was not earmarked for this. But for some political reasons, some officers from relevant agencies came to our building about 3 months later and issued a 14-day notice of demolition and marked the same on our wall. It was one of the most hectic moments in my life. People started calling me from all over the country and abroad in order to inquire about the happenings and the way forward. It was a time to show confidence, hope against hope, and to stay focused. I had never spoken on phone for that long. I had never seen people looking for encouragement that much. It was terribly hard to catch sleep and my appetite diminished. At one point, someone chatted with me on WhatsApp and asked if it was true that I had vacated the building. To him, that would be the end of the fight and the clearest signal for everyone to leave. I was surprised by the question since I had thought everyone would clearly see if I was to move out. That would have been the death blow to this amazing building. From my first meeting, my first words were, "No need to worry. This is just one of the battles we will win. We have won many others before." People actually believed me, and we started coming up with ideas and strategies. The rest is history. The building still stands. Dear leader, stay calm. It does not matter the size of the trouble. You cannot afford to cry in front of your team. Your tears will open the gates for the tears of all your followers, and desperation will creep in. When desperation comes, people stop thinking rationally. More bad things grab the opportunity and the boat sinks. The orchestra collapses. Watch Titanic movie and see how the leader stays composed and assisting everyone else to escape. You too can and should act the same way. And I pass to someone else.
Thank you very much. Anyone willing to read for us a page or two? Melvin, are you in a position you can read? Okay. Let me read it. How do you stay calm in the storm? This is a fundamental question that should not go unanswered. The very reason I do not agree with majority of motivational speakers. I know people call me one, but I consider myself a teacher. They can tell you 1,000,000 times, you can do it, you can do it, have faith, but they fail to tell you how to do it. They do not give you an idea or a suggestion on how to go about it. That's why I view myself as more of a trainer than a motivational speaker. I train people and they get motivation from my teachings. I believe people only need to be trained and the motivation will come. Agreed? My trainings motivate, but motivation is not the driving force. It's education. So here is how to so here is how to gain calmness when under fire. One, focus on the prize. All the people who ever survived a crisis did not do it because they were any superior in skills or psychic or physique. It was because of their focus. It is said that what you focus on expands. If you focus on that which scares you, you remain scared and lose focus on where you are heading to. You perish. Storms will come, no doubt about that. But for you to successfully go through the storm, you must stay 100% focused on the mission for your operation, the goal of your project, your team, your orchestra. I remember reading from Donald Trump's book that when he was going through the hard times in the early 1990s, he kept his focus on what he could do best instead of pity partying, and kept faith that things were going to be all right in under 5 years. He told himself that he only needs to survive for the 5 or so years, and then things change for the better. It happened just as he had envisioned, and we all know the story. I kept my focus on the demolition notices issued to our CIFA apartments being revoked, and coined the tags "Long live CIFA, CIFA is safer, etc." Number two, trust that all things happen for your good. My car battery one time ran down. I did not notice it at first because it manifested as if something was wrong with my car alarm and security system. The doors were not opening and sensors not working. It was strange. After calling my Mr. Fix It, he checked and said nothing was wrong, just the battery. It failed to start a few more times since then. And as a result, my wife and little daughters were able to learn how to jumpstart a car. We finally bought a new battery. But before then, I took the opportunity to explain to them that if they had not experienced that challenge, they would not have learned this essential skill of jump starting, a skill they cannot tell, at least for now, when it shall come in handy again. In nature, I have come to realize that we always get prepared for what is yet to be experienced, and hence the challenges we go through from time to time. Take challenges positively and believe that they are not really against you, but working for you. From every challenging situation, you will be able to gain something precious, emerge victorious, and become a better person than you were before. Challenges are like refineries. They improve your value. Celebrate them when they come. A leader is a warrior. A leader is an army commander. Never expect the ride to be easy, but expect it to be exciting. There is a great difference between the two. When I attended my first network marketing opportunity meeting, the word I heard most was exciting. I was later to figure out that exciting does not necessarily mean enjoyable, at least in this domain. It could mean both challenging, adventurous, and exhilarating. It is just like riding in a swing, full of some bit of fear that you might fall down, and some joy for the fun you are having. That's real life, full of excitement. Troubles come, not to trouble you, but to train you. Keep that in mind. I have always tried to mind the good in every difficulty I face. And I am pretty sure that if someone had removed those troubles from my life, I would be a totally different person. The troubles have trained me. I am better and wiser because of the numerous problems I have encountered in life. And I therefore welcome them gladly if and when they come. Number 3, keep trying ceaselessly. Never stop, never look back. Just keep on keeping on and focus on the task at hand. Focus on doing the best in what you are working on at the moment. Focus on your strengths and have the fun doing what you can do best, celebrating every day's achievement. The moment you stop trying is the moment you cut your ticket for failure. Remember, there is nothing like failure for those who stay on. Only quitters never win, but winners never quit. The big challenge here for leadership is that your team will tend to run down in energy and become less enthusiastic. I have experienced this particular challenge with some of my big teams and even the inner team in one of my movements, one of the movements I lead. It is the work of the leader to keep people on track. Any little successes on the way also make others relax and turn to game over celebration mode. It is fine for people to celebrate wins, however small. That is quite healthy for a winning psychology. Like my team has done really great winning serious battle. Note that celebrations can go too far. It is your responsibility to balance celebrations by still painting the reality picture on what is still undone, where the real goal is. This is not easy at all. It is what I'm currently doing with one of my teams in order to keep the momentum and inspire lesser focus. I once read in one of John Maxwell's leadership books that the first responsibility of a leader is to define reality. I believe him. Majority of people do not have the staying power. They quit prematurely. I'm wondering if we have all the time to read up to just a minute. Yeah, good. Fourth, remain cheerful. It is important to keep a jolly attitude and smile as much as it's permissible. This gives a lot of hope to your team. If you start looking frail and beaten up, you will inspire no one and your people will immediately feel distressed. It's fine to look serious and unreasonable when need be, but remember that a leader is a dealer in hope, a salesperson, and a source of energy to the team. No one can sell when looking gloomy. No one wants to follow a loser or one who seeks pity. A leader must remain strong and composed. During the preparation for one of our choral concerts, time was against us and we got worried about the possibility of giving a performance befitting our choral group. However, the moment our director exuded confidence and assured us that it was doable, a positive energy started boiling in the choir and we ended up giving a fantastic performance. I have seen similar occurrences innumerable times. Remaining cheerful when faced with a challenge is a principle I have always excelled in. It makes people feel I never get stressed. They believe I live in perpetual bliss. 5, seek new ideas, read, and think. Whenever a problem occurs, remember that it exposes some vulnerabilities. It could be that there is something you are yet to learn or something you ignored. There are very few problems which cannot be mitigated. That's why we must keep an open mind, a mind ready to learn new ideas, ready to acquire new thoughts and beliefs. At times, as a leader, we feel we have known it all, and the word training sounds too traditional for us. We erect a block to knowledge and stay comfortable in our cocoons. It is important to know that in leadership, education never ends. And a large part of education is a reminder of what we already know. This is not a one-fits-all domain. Every experience is unique, and thus training should be perpetual. Deliberately have a personal development plan for yourself and your team. Leaders must be students. Every great leader is a reader. The idea of thinking is an exciting one. I have discussed it before, but it is worth repeating. It is hard. Focused thinking that begets required results is not a walk in the park. In my fight to save Seaford Apartments, many nights were spent thinking of the next step and new strategies. At times, an idea crops up in the middle of the night and I pick it up right away, starting to implement it. Some inspired thoughts may wait for the entire team to deliberate on and contribute. At times, do things and explain later. Just keep thinking and scavenging for ideas and information. It soon becomes your diet. Do not starve yourself. We shall reach there for today. And so, welcome everybody. Welcome Grace, Chris, Maurice, Maureen, Mudeu, and any other person I've not mentioned. Just feel welcome. Now we can start discussing what we just learned from that section. So let's share our thoughts. Let's share our thoughts. Willing to hear. Who wants to go first?
Good morning.
Good morning, Maurice.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to, I got in when you are already about halfway through, but there are two things which struck my mind. One is do well in where you have the greatest strength. And from it, there are two things which come out of it in the sense that you do something which you have the greatest strength and you will succeed. I like it. But on the other hand, there's also the risk of doing something which is easy because that is the one you're used to. So maybe what are your thoughts on that, in the sense that sometimes we want to do something we're used to doing because it is easy to do. We think that maybe it is our area of strength, but maybe it is we don't want to go for the tough one. So I look at it in double, from two directions. From the point of view that yes, it is good to do something which we are very strong in and we do it to the best, but also the danger in it. And then the other thing I liked about the reading today is about the challenge of a leader being hopeful and exuding a smile and confidence. And it reminds me of what either last week or the other week, the moderator then talked of when she was going through a big challenge, and yet she continuously displayed confidence as if everything was going on well, and kind of encouraged our team members. So I also like that one, that leader should remain hopeful, should keep on smiling. Even when things are tough, you still remain hopeful and you just maintain a positive attitude. So I just wanted to comment on those two things. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Maurice. You've brought in a very exciting angle, which is true, by the way. You know, I learned that easy to do also means easy not to do. And so in leadership, we talk of discipline. And you know, just before this chapter, we were talking about purpose, and we talked about how to evaluate our purpose, including our strengths, our weaknesses, and we know what we are good at. Those things that when we start doing, time stands still. For example, I love training, by the way, and part of what I like to advise people when they are picking up a business is to pick an area they really love doing. They are ready to do it even for free. And so that means even when it takes time to pick, because naturally a business will take time to pick, you still have your spot. You are celebrating because you're doing something you're good at and you have the strength. And remember, what you have strength in, you even are able to take time to study it better, because if you stop studying, you stop growing. You can study it, you can come up with new ideas, but well, we'll continue to discuss that. I know people will have other thoughts on the same. So Let's hear other people speak. Elsie, you are here with me from the beginning. I'd love to hear you speak. Thank you. Elsie, would you comment on what we've just read? Do I still, am I audible? Good.
Okay, while Elsie perhaps prepares herself to speak, perhaps I can give my inputs.
Yes,
This
thank
is
you.
the very first time that I'm joining Power Mondays, and it's powerful seeing the speaker of the day, who I've known for quite some time. I think I came in, I did not pick up on point number 1 and point number 4, you'll pardon me, but for those that I picked, I think two things stood out for me. Point number 2, that trust that all things happen for our good. And as I thought about this, it reminded me of a scenario or a situation that I was in some time back. That was many years back in campus. And as you all know, especially with the public universities, there are times that marks will go missing mysteriously. You have already done a unit and you have sat in for all the continuous assessment tests and also the exam, but mysteriously just marks go missing. And this, I was not spared on this. So I had one unit that marks went missing. And I remember many of the days when I would wake up right from my hostel and go straight to the exam coordinator and really, really push and tell him, I am very certain I did the unit. So where are my marks? And with time, I realized I was not like, realizing any results. So one time, because our exam coordinator's office used to be next to our chapel, I passed by the chapel, and as I was praying, one thing was very clear to me, that in everything, I have to let the will of God prevail. And at that particular juncture, I sat down and reviewed the situation, and I realized that I was so much pushing for my will to happen and not the will of God. So that particular day when I went to the exam coordinator's office, thankfully I found him. I told him that he needs to let me know what are the next steps now that the marks are missing. So I changed my tact. And now I wanted to know what exactly is the way forward. Let me just say, to cut the story short, I had to redo the unit. So that meant that I had to stay behind. Most of my classmates cleared a semester ahead of me. And immediately when I cleared my unit, because I had to do only that one unit, I had an opportunity to join one of the most prestigious graduate internship programs in the country, which is World Visions. And the reason why is because most of my colleagues had already cleared a semester ahead of me. So I really didn't have competition. And that gave me a very strong head start in terms of my career, in terms of development. So whenever I look back, at that particular time, I really cast. I had to pay extra, like everything seemed not to be working for me. But whenever I look back at that scenario, I usually say everything worketh for good, and you trust that everything that happens works for your good. And at that particular juncture, it may not seem like it is working out for you. But one time you will have an opportunity to look back and indeed indicate and share testimony that it indeed worked for you. Then the second thing that stood out for me is a point number 5 on seek new ideas, read and think. And the very thing that stood out for me was the need to have a personal development plan. I think many a times that you are hit right, left, and center by many things, and that is when you realize perhaps I need to develop my skills on this one. But when you're very deliberate, you're also very strategic, and you get to do things at the right time. Yeah. So for me, this is indeed, like something I would say like a takeaway for me, that I need to be very deliberate in terms of my personal development. It's not just about an opportunity has come up in my workplace. Let me jump into this one. But if I have already planned, then it also makes me have an opportunity to utilize my resources better and also develop myself in areas that I feel like I need to pull up my socks on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Grace. I'm imagining that this is the same Grace I know, but fine, because I've not seen your face. Thank you very much for that.
Yes, that is the same Grace you know.
Okay, Grace. That's good. That's beautiful. Yes, somebody else to contribute. We still have some minutes. I know not all of us may be able to contribute because we will have to stop in about 7.
I'm here.
Yes, Elsie. Thank you.
Okay. A leader is a dealer in hope. I mean, that one was deep for me. And also as an emotional intelligence educator, hope.
We are losing you. Am I the one losing her?
I also can't hear.
No, she went quiet.
Yeah, I know she is driving. She's dropping a child to school. Probably that's why. But well, that's it. Maybe somebody else. I think she dropped off. Somebody else who wants to contribute what struck you, what you're taking home. You know, when we reflect, it helps us to understand better. Sometimes people find me reading my own book. And they ask me, "You read your own book?" But I read it because every time I read it, it reminds me of, makes the situation alive and reminds me, like we've said, it's repetition that makes learning. So, somebody else wants to contribute?
Hello?
Yes, Dr. Dr. Ida, go ahead.
Yeah. I like very much that analogy of defining what is the will of God in every moment. And actually, the greatest thing that gives me peace is knowing that I'm a daughter of God and that He's my Father and that He loves me infinitely. And whatever is happening, He already knew it was going to happen. And He knows what the way forward is, because many things have happened in my life. And at the time, I was wondering what the hell is happening now. And I was so distressed. But later on, I realized that from there, I got the resilience. And, there's certain people who you wish you would have stayed in your life. But the fact that they're not in your life anymore is that their time, their purpose in your life has ended. And so if they were still in your life, you'd not be able to do all these wonderful things that you're doing. I love the Serenity Prayer, which I pray every day. It says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And this one that you said, trust that all things happen for your good, is from a Bible verse, 8:28 Romans, which says that all things happen for the good of those who love the Lord. So whatever is bad in inverted commas that's happening right now, is actually for your own good. It makes you more resilient. It makes you a stronger person. And it launches you into heights that you would never have imagined. Like now, I'm in the process of, actually, I've opened my own company. I'm the CEO, the director of a new company. And this would have never happened if I was still in a certain relationship that I was in that was holding me back. And so the fire of all that is like a baptism of fire, You become so strong and you start thinking, now what can I do? And what gap is there in the field of mental health? And there's a very big gap in the field of mental health, because most psychiatrists that I know don't believe in spirituality. And yet all the evidence is there. And I'm not talking about religiosity. All the evidence is there is that when people find purpose in their life, which is a spiritual thing, and they're able to find meaning in their life, and they are given responsibility to see that it works out, then they actually become better. So seeing this gap,
Mrs. Mwindi, that is Chris.
Okay. Yeah, it's me, Christopher.
Yes.
Now, actually, I hope I'm audible enough. Everyone can hear me well, yeah?
Yes, you are.
Paul, Peter, you can hear me, yeah?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Today's meeting is very informative. Actually, I'm learning a lot from your book. And I wish to welcome all. I can see today we have increased in number. For me, my thoughts are, actually, I was listening today when I woke up, I was listening to Brian Tracy in the morning while I was doing my preparation to come for work. And actually, what you're saying is what he was saying, actually, about smiling and how a leader should be. A leader should radiate hope. Actually, and what you're saying, actually, you and him rhyme a lot in actually what you're saying in your book. And for me, where I'm situated, I have a lot of customers. So being there at the present with my customers, smiling at them, and actually there's no one who usually wants to see a gloomy person. So that one I can concur with you. And all your input, everyone is inputting together with Dr. Eda's inputs. So that's is my input, Paul.
Thank you very much, Chris. Annette?
Thank you, Paul Peter, for this opportunity, and greetings, everyone. My name is Annette Wanjala, and I'm really liking today's discussion. I find it very edifying, and I also agree with what the previous contributors have said. I totally agree with it. And when we were reading, and even when they were commenting, one thing that came in my mind was, can anyone become a leader? I know in this time, in the 21st century culture, we define a leader in the setting of the workplace mostly. But if we do that, then I answered my question, and I'm like, no, not just anyone can become a leader. But there are different types of leaders in every circumstance imaginable. And I know that everyone has qualities that leaders possess, each and every one of us, but not everyone encounters the exact set of circumstances in life where those qualities can really shine and be recognized. However, I also know that everyone can develop these leadership qualities and put them to positive use in their everyday life, whether they're in the workplace or out of the workplace. Now, when I think of leadership again, I think of influence. Leadership and influence are similar, but they're not the same. So leaders have influence, but all influencers, even very highly respected ones, are not necessarily in leadership positions. So leaders tend to affect people's actions, which is why it is so valued in the business world. But influencers have more of an effect on people's character, people's action, and values, and even thought processes. So like the effective leader, the effective influencer also develops positive qualities that reach people, whether on an individual level or in ways that can impact millions of people. But in short, anyone can develop these qualities, whether or not they're in a position to lead. So if maybe I can just summarize, I think not everyone can be a leader as most commonly defined, but everyone can develop these qualities and use the influence they have in positive ways. And these qualities and skills will help us to serve people well, no matter what position we're in life. and will also ensure that when a situation arises that requires a particular skill or quality and knowledge, we'll be ready to step in and serve in the best way that we can. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We have like a few minutes left. Just summarizing, I hope nobody has raised up a hand. I'd
Hi,
like.
Peter.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. This is Catherine. I just want to say good morning.
Yes, Catherine, welcome.
Yeah, sorry, today the network has been on and off, but I've been able to catch a bit of what everybody has contributed. And for me, the discussion is quite eye-opening. There's a gentleman who said that he serves customers, and you know, when people talk about customer experience, it gets to the heartbeat of mine. So I hope that gentleman serves customers well. You know what I found in this market, people want to talk about customer experience, but it does not come from deep within the heart. And also from what the lady who has just finished her contribution, it's true, not everybody can be a leader. And some of this is how do you impact people? How do you mentor your team? As in, after you've gone, is there any impact that people can say that you came through and you are leader? And for me nowadays, what I'm looking at is also I look at the position that I have as a privilege given by God. So how do I make sure that I've lived the best expectation and also delivered both to myself, to the company, and also to the customers? Thank you, Paul. I just needed to add a few of those things.
Thank you very much, Catherine. Maybe in summary, I'd like to say that, well, from page 1, we started by defining leadership and whether everyone can be a leader. And we started by saying that the first person to lead is yourself, self-leadership. And that is the smallest team you can have. And that means everyone is a leader. There is a difference between being a leader and having a leadership position. There are people who wait to have a leadership position to be a leader, but it doesn't work like that. We should be leaders, and then when we get leadership position, we'll just be able to do a good job. Otherwise, personal development, this is my own philosophy. Personal development is nothing besides growing in your leadership skills. Yes, that is it. And all that we are, you know, you can have the technical skills. Yes, people also talk about that, but you can look around the people who are, let's say, for example, in the industry, like a banking industry, some of the guys you will meet at the teller have MBAs, but enough of the people who are leading them did not even finish the MBA. So it's not just the technical skills, it's these soft skills, it's these leadership skill that makes the difference. It's not just the technical skills or academics. And that means we must be prepared and grow in our leadership before we get to the leadership position. And so everyone, you are leading yourself, you're leading your family, you're leading your church group, wherever, you are always a leader. And as Annette has rightly put it, leadership is influence. And that's where I relate it with sales. You know, selling is not a transaction, but this is not a sales topic. Selling is just helping people to think the way you think or believe what you believe. Now, we've talked about staying positive. And this is very important when we talk about somebody, you are a leader and you need to be seen to be calm. You need to be focusing on the right things and knowing that everything is happening for your good. Let me tell you, it's not that easy. But remember, there is a popular subject that people talk about called attitude. I hardly talk about attitude. I talk about thinking and personal and managing your thoughts. And you'll realize that in order to stay positive, you must be in charge of your thoughts. And that is a full-time job. It's not a part-time job. It's not something you do in the morning and then you do it in the evening again, or you do it during lunchtime. It's a full-time job. You must be the driver of your thoughts, choosing what you want to dwell on and what you do not want to dwell on. And that's the way people choose their choose their day, choose what they are going to get. And more so during these times that people are talking of pandemic and everything else. If we do not choose our thoughts well, we become part of the crying crowd. And so they have no one to look up to. And then we join them in the problem. As leaders, we need to be the people who radiate hope, as we said, dealer in hope, and helping people to know that there is still a lot of good that is coming along the way. It's not the end of the battle. We are not done. We still have a lot to do. And this can only happen if we are able to take care of our thoughts, because our thoughts determine our results. In fact, I love the formula. There is a formula I love sharing, that our thoughts, that is T, yeah? The thoughts, I love using the word T. Our thoughts and our activities determine our results. I love saying R is given by T plus A. Results equals thoughts plus activities. So we've got to know that it's a full-time job, and if we are going to be leaders, we must, we started discussing this last week, we must be in charge of our emotions, we must be in charge of our thinking, because our thinking will also determine our emotions. And when we know that everything is going to happen for our good, things somewhat will be able to work, and we will be able to get the results that we want. We have to stop this. I know if somebody has a comment, they will be able to do it, but just to let you know that this is a session that takes place every Monday from 7:30 to 8:15, but we log in earlier, even as early as 7, so that you can always interact and network. Anything that anybody who wants to give a final comment, it's 8:15. Otherwise, we are very grateful. I'm very grateful for everyone who joined, and share it with your people, share it with your team. Everyone is welcome. Anybody who wants to give a last comment before we close? Melvin, today you didn't say anything.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
This is my first time to come to this meeting, and I got in a little bit late. I would like to know, one, the title of the book that you are reading.
Yes.
And then for me, what stood out for me is remain cheerful, seek new ideas, and focus on your best. Because sometimes when things get difficult, I don't focus on my best, I focus on my worst. And for me, that has been a big challenge to me. But I would like to know the title of the book you're reading from. I got in a bit late. And it's my first time. So I'm encouraged to come to get in when this is going on. I hope I'll be there more times.
Thank you very much, Amudeo. The title of the book is The Making of a Symphony Orchestra, Timeless Leadership by Otieno Paul Peter. This Otieno
How can one get it?
We have copies. We have it can be bought on Amazon. At the moment, I have a few copies. I think I have only 4 copies. So if you want, you can let me know. Let me put my number there.
Okay, please do.
Yeah.
Please do, and I'll get in touch with you.
924 0733 6924.
0733
666 924. My name is Otieno.
666 924.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get in touch.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you very much. Otherwise, I'm happy to have hosted you. Today, our moderator wasn't able to join. She's not feeling well. Let's meet next week and have a